Alright, so in this video, which is very brief, I'm going to show you how to come in and duplicate elements with the clone stamp tool. So I have a picture right here of the sky, and it doesn't have enough clouds for my taste. So I'm going to come in right here and go grab the rubber stamp tool, or clone stamp tool as it's now known, right there. It's a brush-based tool. So there we go. Now you'll notice in this case, I need to come in and increase my brush size. So I'm going to come in right here and try to increase it. I'm going to right click and increase the size, see how big it is now. Increase the size some more, see how big it is. And just by right clicking and using the pop-up brush panel, I can change the size. But wait a minute. An easier way to do this is to use the right bracket key on my keyboard and my left bracket key. The left bracket key makes the brush smaller. The right bracket key makes the brush bigger. And that dynamically allows me to come in and see how big my brush is. And then if I wanted to look at the actual values right here in the control bar. So the next thing I want to do is sample from this picture. So hold on the Option key on the Mac, Alt on the PC, and click right here. And now I'm going to come in, and you can see in my cursor, it's almost like I'm carrying the cloud with me. So I'll come in, and I'll try to replicate the cloud like that. So now I'm able to replicate the cloud. But I have another problem. What happens when I have to deal with this hard edge, or I have to deal with some other areas of the cloud after I've made it? And look how it's integrated into this scene. I need to put this on a separate layer, so let me step backwards a couple of times. So go to Edit, Step Backwards, Edit, Step Backwards, and I'll do that a couple of times. And now what I need to do is I need to come in and I need to make a brand new layer in my Layers panel, which is in the bottom right hand corner of my UI. And with the clone stamp tool active right here, I need to go up to the control bar and look at its parameters. One, the opacity is 100%, which means that when I replicate, I'm going to be, bringing this part of the image back over here. Flow is good, so the brush is wet. I think I need to turn on the airbrush tool. And now I'm going to try to sample again. So I hold on the Option key right here on this cloud, and I try to sample. So Option key, sample, now I try to brush. I'm brushing with my left mouse button. Wait a minute, this isn't working. The reason being is, if you're on a layer, which I just made a new layer, and it's empty, and you try to sample, you're only able to sample from that layer. So if I sample nothing, because nothing is on layer 2, as you can see. If I sample nothing, or alpha, transparency that is, I'm going to paint nothing or alpha. Or I'm going to paint transparency. So what I need to do with the clone stamp tool right here is come up here, and where it says sample, I'll choose current and below right there. So that means this layer, but also everything beneath it. So this layer and that one. So make sure that the second layer right here is active. There we go. And you know it's active because it's light gray. We've changed the setting right there. And now what I want to do is I want to come in and sample right here. And now look at what I'm doing. I'm able to repaint that cloud. But wait a minute. I have another problem. Made another mistake. I'm still getting this hard edge right here. How can I fix that? Let's step backwards a couple of times. So edit, step backwards. There we go. Maybe 6 or 7 times because I did a lot of painting. There we go. Here's what I need to do. I need a smaller brush size. So I'll decrease my brush size using the left bracket on my keyboard. Now what I'm going to do is hold on the Option key, and I'm going to paint up parts of this cloud to help myself out. So Option or Alt click here. Okay, there's a piece of that cloud. Now you can see, if you look on your screen, you see my brush, it's the circle on the left hand side, and then you see the crosshair on the cloud where I'm sampling. Now I'm able to come in and I'm able to grab these edges as I see fit and really start to paint the cloud the way I want to. Okay, so that looks good. So what's the next step? Well, now what I need to do is do something about this hard edge. What I want to do in this case is I want to come in and grab my paintbrush tool, which is right above the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool's icon looks like a rubber stamp, which is why it used to be called a rubber stamp tool. And right above it is the brush, paintbrush. If you can't find the paintbrush, hit the B key on the keyboard and you'll be able to find it. The paintbrush is obviously a brush-based tool, just like the clone stamp tool. So if I hit the right bracket and keep tapping and tapping, I can increase the size of my brush. Now with this, I want to sample some of the color from this area of the picture, but I'm going to manually paint this. I'm not going to like duplicate like I did with this cloud and that cloud. So I'm going to come in right here and go find the eyedropper tool, which only allows me to sample color. It does not replicate. The eyedropper tool should be right here. If you can't find it, the hotkey is I. And we'll sample a little bit of this color here. And if you left click and drag, you can see the color you're sampling. Sample there. Now go back to my paintbrush tool, and I'll start to paint. So that looks pretty good, but it doesn't work. Another mistake. I don't need to be painting fully opaque. It's the same thing I said earlier about the rubber stamp tool. So I'm going to come in right here and go, while I'm in the paintbrush tool now, come up here to opacity. We'll go with the nice 50%. And the flow, we will go with a nice 35%. So the mark I make will not be fully opaque, and it won't really be that wet. So now I can come in right here and notice how I can really, with the paintbrush tool, really deal with these edges just like this, and I go around the cloud like so. And then there we go. And I come up here, tighten it up a little bit. There we go. So that looks pretty good. So now this is integrated here, just like that. So now that gives me a nice little cloud that I can play with. But made a mistake again. One can easily tell that this cloud originates from this one. This is a duplicate. So let me step backwards a couple of times. And we can always go through the edit menu to step backwards. But I'd rather come right here, which is the history panel. If you don't see it, you can go to Window, History, and you can see almost everything you've done. Maybe like 30 steps. Because this is called provenance, it's a record of actions that you've executed up until the present time in Photoshop. I'm going to come back up here to Clone Stamp, which is right after I replicated the cloud, and let's just flip this cloud. So I'll make sure that the layer that the cloud is contained on is active. It's light gray. That's why I was flickering the visibility on and off. It's right here, so click on that layer. And then we can go to Edit, and we can go to Transform, and let's just flip it horizontally. There we go. I do need to rotate him as well, because his angle is kind of messed up. So I'll go to Edit, and I'll go to Transform and Rotate. You get a bounding box around him. You can just go lateral to a corner. So here's the corner. Go out. You notice your cursor turns into a curved double-sided arrow. And I can rotate this guy like that. There we go. Once you rotate them, like so, then you can come up to your control bar right here. The cancel button is a circle with the slash through it. And the hotkey for that is escape if you don't like to click the button. If you want to commit to the transformation, which is what I'm going to do, you can click on the check mark right there. Now I'll go back and get my paintbrush tool right here. And I've already sampled the appropriate colors. I can come in right here, and now I can eat away at this edge. And I'm clicking and dragging. I'm not tapping. So I just do a little bit of that. And I just paint a little bit outside of the cloud, like right there, so that the viewer's not the wiser as far as the sky is changing colors. And I'll come and get the edges of the clouds right here. There we go. Because it's kind of a dark navy blue that wouldn't make sense being directly under the sun. And then there we go. And so that is how you can come in if you want to, and you can replicate an item, and then you can integrate it into your composition. And right now what I just did, if you saw my cursor move, I'm just brushing a little bit over those sun rays so that it doesn't look like this light blue. And I'll make my brush bigger. It doesn't look like this light blue is unnatural in this area of the comp.